2018, if you remember, after the worst drought in decades. Residents were forced to use water sparingly to avoid catastrophe. But it's taught them and the city some valuable lessons. ENCA's Monique Mortlock is on the story and she joins us now live to give us more details. Monique, as we're hearing people from Durban, for instance, complaining about no water and water rationing, and we know the Eastern Cape is facing day zero. Tell me what it is that residents and businesses in Cape Town learned and the lessons that they can share perhaps with those other provinces.
Well, from the households and even the schools that we visited today, we've seen that water consciousness, being water savvy, it still continues today, even 4 years after the drought in many households. Like the first household that we visited this morning, the gentleman there, he's using water from the ground, from a well as harvesting rainwater to use that water for to flush the toilet and to water their garden. So it's these small ways that many Cape Townians are still using in their homes today to ensure that they are saving water. But to tell us a bit more about some of the lessons that we learned, I'm speaking to Dr. Claudia Schacht-Schneider.
Welcome to Homeschooling Adventures, where we simplify grade 12 economics for exam success. Today, we are starting environmental sustainability and focusing on the state of the environment, which is a key foundation for your exams. Environmental sustainability refers to the use of natural resources in a way that meets our needs today, without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. In simple terms, we must use resources responsibly because they are limited. In South Africa, the importance of sustainability became very clear during the Cape Town water crisis. At one point, the city was just days away from running out of water. This was called day zero. This shows how environmental issues are not just theoretical, but directly affect the people, business, and the economy. Let's watch this video.
Doctor, just tell us, now we heard from the City of Cape Town a little earlier this morning about the importance of tapping into alternate water sources. That is one of the key lessons that they learned from that 2018 drought. Do you think that we have found enough sustainable ways to tap into alternate water sources in the eventuality of another disaster?
Thank you very much. I think the City of Cape Town has definitely learned its lesson to have to diversify its water sources. And I think one of the particularly important ones has been groundwater. That was definitely being used more from the City of Cape Town. And its, I think, new water strategy wants to use 7% of groundwater in its overall bulk water use by 2050. And one of the recent studies that WWF was involved in also looked at residential groundwater use. And what we found is that in 6 different residential areas across Cape Town, about 50% of the new boreholes that were all drilled in the day zero period. So there was a huge amount of residents and businesses that looked for groundwater in order to diversify and also secure their water access. And if you ask if that is actually a sustainable thing, that is a really good question, because just as much as you're going to be driving a car, you need a fuel gauge to understand whether you're on empty or not. And groundwater is similar. You can't see it, but you need to monitor the groundwater level to know what it's doing. And that is a really important part that the city needs to do where it is withdrawing its water. And the residents also need to have a way to understand what their neighborhood groundwater levels are doing. And that is something that's really, really important to start, because that's something that's previously been neglected. And if we are wanting to use groundwater again in future as a fallback, which is what it originally was, then we need to make sure it's sustainable, because if it becomes just one of the new water sources, then what do we fall back on afterwards?
All right. Now, one of the biggest threats to the environment is pollution. Pollution occurs when harmful substances are released into the environment, damaging the ecosystem and the human health. Let's break it down clearly. There are 3 main types you must know for exams. We have air pollution, which is caused by factory emissions and vehicle exhausts. And then we have water pollution, which is caused by sewage, chemicals, and waste entering rivers. And then we have land pollution, which is caused by dumping waste, poor waste management. These forms of pollution increase health care cost, reducing productivity and lower the quality of life, making themselves an economic issue as well. Let's just have a quick quiz question. I have a past exam question that I want to give you to answer quickly. So just pause the video and attempt the answer, and then I'll be back with this with the possible solutions. Okay, I'm back with the answers now. So the question reads, what type of pollution is depicted in the above picture? And obviously the correct answer there is air pollution. Okay, then give any one example of renewable source of energy. If you spoke about solar, accept that. Water, it's another one, accept. Wind is another one, accept. Biomass, accept that. Geothermal, accept that. So any one of those is accepted. If you don't know whether your answer was correct or not, you can post it in the comment section, and I will surely go through it and I will respond to that. Okay. Then the question 3.3.3, briefly describe the term environmental sustainability. Now, environmental sustainability is the ability of the environment to survive the use for economic activity. In other words, meeting the needs of the present generation without compromising the needs of the future generation. That is what is called environmental sustainability. If you also have a different answer that you don't understand, feel very free to hit the comment section and type in your answer, then I'll surely respond to that. Let's go to the next part. Right, question 3.3.4, it says explain the effect of deforestation on the environment. So it's the effect of deforestation on the environment, okay? And that's what you are supposed to explain, okay? The effect of deforestation on the environment. Okay, so the correct answers or the suggested answers are the loss of animal and plant species due to a loss of the inhabitat, and some of them are even pushed to extinction. Okay, and then the other one, Elena could also have said, maybe you also said, the lack of trees allows for a greater amount of greenhouse gases to be released into the atmosphere. Okay, or another Lena could have just said, deforestation reduces the control of the level of water in the atmosphere, which helps to regulate the water cycle. Okay, those are the answers that, but if you do have a different answer, because we have to accept that answers are going to be a whole range of answers. And if you are not sure about your answer, hit the inbox, hit the comment section, and then I'll respond to that. Okay, right. How can pollution cause climate change? Now, pollution introduces greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, which contributes to ozone pollution. Okay, the accumulation of greenhouse gases, it traps the heat, which results in an increase in the world temperatures. And also the increase in temperatures, they disrupt weather patterns, the ecosystem, as it leads to an increase in disasters such as wildfires, floods, earthquakes, and many other natural disasters that can result from that. Okay, so on this question 3.3.5, we would have expected Elena to give at least 2 points, 2 correct points, because this one is a 4-mark question. So we expected Elena to give us at least 2 points. Okay, right. So always make sure that in the exam, when you answer these 4-mark questions, or when you answer the 8-mark questions, if it is the 4-mark questions, then we expect you to give us 2 points. If it is a 2-mark question, we expect you to give us 1 point. If it is an 8-mark question, we expect you to give us 4 points. Okay, if it is a 10-mark question, as is in the case of the additional part of your essay, we expect you to give us 5 points, at least 5 points must be given, so that you don't lose those marks unnecessarily. Okay, now another environmental issue is soil erosion. Now this refers to the removal of the top layer of the soil by wind, or water. Now, this might sound simple, but it has serious consequences. Now, the topsoil is essential for agriculture. When it is lost, crop production decreases, food security is threatened, and farmers, they lose their income. Let's watch this video clip.
What if I told you that the ground beneath our feet is slipping away? Not because of some dramatic earthquake or landslide, but silently, inch by inch, year by year. This silent threat is soil erosion. It's a natural process, yes, but our actions are speeding it up, and the consequences are hitting hard. Let's start with the basics. Soil isn't just dirt. It's a vibrant mix of minerals, organic material, and nutrients that sustains life on Earth. Think of soil as the backbone of every ecosystem on the planet. It nurtures forests, keeps rivers clean, and feeds billions by growing our food. But here's the scary part. Once soil erodes, it's gone, and it takes centuries to rebuild. So, what exactly causes this erosion? Well, naturally, wind and water play their part. Raindrops hit the soil, rivers sweep it away, and winds carry off tiny particles. But what if I told you that we're making it 100 times worse? Agriculture, deforestation, and construction are turning natural soil erosion into an accelerated disaster. When trees and plants are removed, the roots that held soil together vanish, leaving it vulnerable. Every year, the world loses an area of fertile soil the size of South Korea, and the rate is accelerating. Imagine a farmer trying to grow crops on barren land, where the soil has turned to dust, blown away with every gust of wind. That's what millions are facing. In places like sub-Saharan Africa, Asia, and even parts of North America, soil erosion is turning green landscapes into deserts. This isn't just a rural problem. Soil erosion leads to dust storms, floods, and a host of other issues that eventually reach urban areas. But what's the cost of all this erosion? Globally, soil erosion is costing us around $400 billion a year in reduced agricultural productivity and environmental damage. And it doesn't stop at the economy. Soil erosion also contributes to climate change. When fertile topsoil is lost, the carbon it stores is released into the atmosphere, adding to greenhouse gases. Here's where the good news comes in. We can slow down, even reverse soil erosion with some key strategies. One of the simplest and most effective solutions is reforestation. By planting trees and vegetation, we create natural barriers against wind and rain, anchoring the soil in place. Agroforestry, which integrates trees with crops, not only fights erosion but boosts biodiversity and productivity. Another powerful approach is contour farming. By planting along the natural contours of the land, farmers can slow down water runoff, giving it time to soak into the soil instead of washing it away. Similarly, no-till farming leaves the soil undisturbed, maintaining its structure and preventing erosion. Cover crops, plants grown to protect soil when fields aren't in use, act like a protective blanket, shielding the soil from the elements. And it's not just up to farmers or conservationists. We all have a role to play. Supporting sustainable food sources, promoting policies that protect our soils, and raising awareness can make a difference. Remember, every inch of soil lost takes hundreds of years to regenerate. If we don't act, we're jeopardizing our food security, our environment, and our future. So, the next time you step outside, take a moment to appreciate the ground beneath you. It's not just dirt, it's life, it's history, and it's essential to our survival.
Now, deforestation is another key issue. This is the large-scale removal of forests, usually for agriculture or mining or urban development. But forests are extremely important because they absorb carbon dioxide from the air, they support biodiversity, and they regulate the climate. Now, when trees are removed, all of these benefits are lost. Let's watch the clip.
What the trees would say if they could talk, or perhaps the animals that call these trees home. Imagine the tales of centuries past, the secrets whispered by the wind. The trees have been silent spectators to the unfolding of time, and yet we seldom pause to listen. As we rush into the future, these silent sentinels are disappearing at an alarming rate. Forests, once vibrant and full of life, are now silent and empty. This is the harsh reality of deforestation. A reality that not only robs us of our planet's lungs, but also threatens the very existence of countless species that rely on these ecosystems. The implications are far-reaching, from altering climate patterns to accelerating global warming. The domino effect is real, and it's happening faster than we can comprehend. Today, we take a journey into the heart of the forest to hear a story untold. Imagine being an orangutan, a silent witness to the rapid destruction of your home. In the heart of the rainforest, you swing from tree to tree, your muscular arms propelling you through the verdant canopy. The forest is your playground, your pantry, your sanctuary. The cacophony of cawing birds, buzzing insects, and rustling leaves is your symphony. The lush greenery, your masterpiece. Yet beneath this idyllic existence, a storm brews. Men with machines invade your sanctuary, their relentless blades slicing through the heart of your world. Mighty trees that have stood tall for centuries, sheltering countless generations of your kin, are toppled, reduced to mere timber in the blink of an eye. The symphony turns into a dirge, the masterpiece into a monochrome portrait of devastation. You watch, helpless, as your home is dismantled piece by piece. The playground is gone, replaced by a graveyard of stumps. The pantry is bare, the fruits and leaves you once feasted on vanished. Your sanctuary is violated, your peace shattered by the roar of engines and the cries of your kin. You are forced to flee to search for a new home, but where? Every direction you turn, the destruction follows, a relentless tide of devastation. You are hungry, tired, and alone. You are an orangutan, a silent witness to your own demise. The forest that once teemed with life is now a barren wasteland. The symphony is silenced, the masterpiece destroyed. You are left with nothing but memories of a time when the forest was a haven of biodiversity, a time when your species thrived. Gone are the days of swinging through the canopy, of feasting on abundant fruits, of living in harmony with nature. Now you wander aimlessly, a nomad in your own land, a victim of a war you didn't start. Your struggle for survival is a silent plea, a heartbreaking testament to the brutal reality of deforestation. Your story is a stark reminder of the cost of our actions, a poignant call for change. A home, once lush and vibrant, now reduced to a barren wasteland. The loss of one home triggers a chain reaction, a domino effect that disrupts the balance of the entire ecosystem. Imagine, if you will, a house of cards, each card representing a different species, delicately balanced and interdependent. Now picture removing just one card and the whole structure collapses. This is exactly what happens when we lose a single species from an ecosystem due to deforestation. Biodiversity is the intricate web of life, with each species playing a unique role. When deforestation rears its ugly head, animals lose their homes, plants lose their footing, and the entire natural order is disrupted. It's not just about losing a single species, it's about the cascade of changes that follow. This domino effect extends beyond the borders of the forest. It affects the climate too. Trees are the world's lungs, absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. When trees are cut down, not only is this natural air filtration system compromised, but the stored carbon is released back into the atmosphere, accelerating climate change. And let's not forget about the local communities. Forests are more than just a collection of trees. They are the lifeblood for many indigenous communities who depend on them for their livelihoods, for food, shelter, and medicine. When the forests disappear, so do the resources these communities rely on, pushing them further into the margins of society. Deforestation is not just an environmental issue, it's a social issue, a human issue. It's a chain reaction that starts with the loss of a single tree, but ends with the disruption of entire ecosystems, the acceleration of climate change, and the marginalization of local communities. As we continue to cut down forests, we're not just losing trees, we're losing biodiversity, we're changing our climate, and we're affecting human lives. We're setting off a chain reaction that, once started, is difficult to stop. The ripple effects of deforestation are far-reaching and devastating. Deforestation isn't just an animal problem, it's a human problem too. Let's take a moment to consider how this issue deeply affects us, the people. We may not be the ones losing our homes directly, but the ripple effects of deforestation are far-reaching and profound. Imagine this. a world without trees. It's not just about losing the stunning aesthetics of a lush green forest, though that's a loss in its own right. It's about losing the very resources that sustain our lives. Trees are nature's factories, tirelessly producing the oxygen we breathe. They are our silent partners, working around the clock to keep our air clean. But when these factories are shut down, when acres upon acres of forest are decimated, the oxygen production drops. Concurrently, the levels of carbon dioxide, a gas that trees absorb, begin to rise. It's as if we're choking our planet slowly but surely. And let's not forget, trees are more than just oxygen factories. They are the pillars of ecosystems, providing food and shelter for countless species, including us. The fruits we enjoy, the wood we use to build our homes, the medicinal plants that heal us, all these gifts of nature are at stake. The loss is not just ecological, it's economical too. Forests are a source of livelihood for millions of people around the world. When forests disappear, so do these jobs. The ripple effect extends to all of us as the global economy takes a hit. But perhaps the most alarming consequence of deforestation is its contribution to climate change. Forests are our planet's lungs, absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. When we cut down trees, we're not just losing these natural carbon sinks, we're also releasing stored carbon back into the atmosphere. This amplifies the greenhouse effect, accelerating the pace of global warming. So you see, we're not just talking about trees, we're talking about our survival, our future. We're talking about the delicate balance of life on Earth. We are all part of this interconnected web of life. The question now is, what can we do about it? How do we shift from passive observers to active warriors in this battle against deforestation? The answer lies in our everyday choices and actions. Our first step is to lend our support to organizations that are fighting the good fight against deforestation. These organizations, both local and international, are working tirelessly to protect our forests and restore those that have been lost. They need our help, whether it's through donations, volunteering, or simply spreading the word about their work. Next, we need to become conscious consumers. Every product we buy has a story behind it, a story that often involves forests being cut down to make way for production. We can choose to buy products that are certified as eco-friendly or sustainably sourced. By doing so, we send a clear message to companies that we value our forests more than their profits. But perhaps the most powerful tool we have at our disposal is our voice. We can use it to spread awareness about the devastation caused by deforestation. We can talk to our friends, our families, our communities about the importance of forests and the urgent need to protect them. We can use social media, blogs, and other platforms to reach out to a wider audience. Every conversation, every post, every share can make a difference. This is not just about saving trees. It's about preserving the delicate balance of our ecosystem. It's about safeguarding the homes of countless species. It's about ensuring a healthy, livable planet for future generations. Our actions today will determine the kind of world we leave behind for our children and their children after them. So let's not sit idly by while our forests disappear. Let's take action.
Now, all these problems of pollution, deforestation, and erosion, they contribute to the bigger problem of climate change. Now, climate change refers to a long-term changes in temperature and weather patterns, mainly caused by human activities like burning fossil fuels and deforestation. Okay, in South Africa, this results in increased droughts, water shortages, as well as reduced agricultural output. Let's just compare the difference between conservation and preservation. Now, this one is particularly an important concept. Now, to manage environmental changes, we need to understand these two key approaches, which is the conservation and the preservation approach. Now, the conservation is using resources in a sustainable way. So you are going to be using the resources, but you use them in such a way that they can be used for a relatively longer period of time. Okay? Like if you cut down trees, you replace the trees that you have cut down with other trees. If you go to fish, then you are going to be fishing, but you control on the quantity of fish that you are going to be taking so that they can be able to, so that fish can be able to breed again, okay, and replace what has been taken out. Okay, that's conservation. You are using the resources, but you are using them in a sustainable way. And then we have the second one, which is called preservation. Now, to preserve is to protect the resources completely from use. You are protecting the resources completely from being used. Okay, and an example of preservation is our protected national parks, like the Kruger National Park. You cannot go and hunt there. You cannot cut down trees there. So it's it's preserved in its pristine state. Okay. Then let's recap. We looked at the state of the environment through pollution, erosion, deforestation, climate change, and we also looked at the difference between conservation and preservation. Okay, now let's apply this in exam style questions. You can pause the video and then you answer the questions, and I'll be back with the answers. Okay, so now here the question reads, study the extract below and answer the questions that follow. And then I'll just quickly read through the extract. Loss of biodiversity is a global phenomenon. The loss and degradation of South Africa's biodiversity has serious implications for society and the economy. Global biodiversity is being lost much faster than natural extinction due to, among others, changes in land use, unsustainable use of natural resources, invasive alien species, then climate change, population growth, urban development, and pollution. South Africa has a well-developed and progressive policy framework for biodiversity management. Okay, then let's just go to the answers then, and let's start answering the question. Now, question 4.3.1, it reads, identify the term in the extract that relates to the introduction or disposal of waste material into the environment. If you wrote pollution, well done, you can mark it correct. Pollution is the term. Then, this question is saying identify in the extract. So it means you are using the extract. That's where you're supposed to get your answer from, because the question directs you, is pointing you towards the extract. So you use the extract to get your answer. Okay, and then the next one, which international agreement addresses the extinction of endangered species? And then the international agreement there is the Convention of International Trade in Endangered Species, which is called the CITES. The CITES is the international convention that deals with the trade of endangered species. Like, you cannot trade ivory. Okay, you cannot trade ivory because elephants are an endangered species. So if you are still trading, then you need to have a license, and then the quantities that you are trading, they are also heavily controlled. Okay, so that CITES for you there. So if you indicated CITES or the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, accept that is correct. Then briefly describe the term preservation. Now, preservation is an act of keeping natural resources that are threatened by extinction intact by ensuring that they are not depleted. Okay, so if you have said that, then accept that as correct. The most important thing there is keeping natural resources that are facing extinction intact. That is what is most important. Okay, then the next one, explain unsustainable use of natural resources as a contributing factor to loss of biodiversity. Now, some animals and plants may become extinct as they get used or consumed without being replaced. Okay, so that's the unsustainable use of natural resources, because we are going to have those animals getting extinct because they are being used without any control over. We are not regulating on how much should be eaten or how much should be taken from the environment. Okay, then why is hazardous waste regarded as harmful? to the environment. Now, hazardous waste can endanger all life forms, organisms, and the entire ecosystem. Now, hazardous waste may slow decomposition rate. It stays poisonous for a very long time. Now, another learner could also have said it poses a serious threat as it is toxic or flammable or corrosive. Okay, another child you could have also said it can cause various types of illnesses such as cancer, headaches, and breathing problems. Okay, so any two of those, because this one was a 4-mark question, so any two of those will be accepted as correct. If you are not sure whether to mark your answer as correct or wrong, please hit the comment section and write your answer there, and then I will look at it and I will definitely respond to all the comments that are put there. In the next video, we will look at how government and markets can solve all these environmental problems. This is where you gain the most marks in your exams. Remember, for today's quiz sections, I've used an NSC exam paper. That was a paper 2 for the June 2024. Okay, I've used the NSC June 2024 paper 2 exam. So we are going to be looking at more exam type questions and try to go through a lot of questions in this particular section, because this is an important section in your exams and you cannot afford to lose those marks. Make sure you join me in the next lesson. If this video did help you, remember to like, subscribe, and share with your classmates as well. Meet you in the next lesson. Have a good day. I'm out.